Congratulations! You've been randomly selected to receive our grand prize. You get to listen to this episode of Vaguely Scientific. Random. It's a random prize. Only one person gets to do that. There's very little evidence to refute the fact that I am Derek. Jim is also here, and you can't convince me that he isn't. Hi, Jim.
I'm not here.
Oh. I am...
That was way easier to convince you than I thought it would be.
Well, I'm not convinced, but I am dubious about the existence of our guest this week. But it seems as though we are joined by Brian. Welcome back, Brian.
Welcome to me. Thank you. I'm Schrodinger's guest. I am both here and not here as the guest.
Oh, that went better than I imagined it was going to go. Well, this is the show where we answer the most ridiculous audience-submitted questions in a manner that we like to call vaguely scientific. Presumably, we're still going to do that. I don't know. But before we do that, Jim, do you have a fun science fact of the day for us?
I do. I thought this was really interesting because I didn't know this was a term. But it's a thing called deflagration or deflagration. And this occurs when something burns very quickly but slower than the speed of sound. This is different than detonation, which occurs at supersonic speeds. And the reason I found this out is because apparently black powder is something that deflagrates. It doesn't detonate, it just burns really fast, but not faster than the speed of sound.
I didn't even know that's what detonation meant.
I didn't either.
I just thought detonation meant to like trigger something.
Yeah. For some reason, I was looking up like something about, we're redoing our kitchen and it's like, we have, quartz and all the different choices you can pick from. And it's like, I wonder how they get like the nice neat slabs of quartz and stuff. And I guess that when it comes to things like that and marble and other like decorative stones, they will use black powder because it doesn't detonate, it deflagrates. So it doesn't damage it as much.
Oh.
So that's how I found that out. But I thought that was interesting because I had no idea that was a thing.
Yeah, me neither until now. I like learning things.
Learning is fun.
Well, speaking of learning things, that's a terrible segue because this has nothing to do with anything.
That's right.
Pragmatic.
This is nothing that you can learn. This is
this
first one's nonsense.
Very educational moment coming up for you two, apparently.
Yeah. I'm excited for that. Question 1 this week. How many hit points does the Earth have? And apparently, Brian has some things to say about it.
Hey.
I do. First, you have to define your terms,
Okay.
What is a hit point? What determines, like, when something is out of hit points? How can you know? Because I think hit points is usually said as HP. I think gamers will know that.
Yeah.
And like the other way of saying that, HP is usually short for health points. So then you get into the question of like, does the Earth have health, or is it for living things? That's tough.
Oh yeah. Because the Earth isn't. You can't kill the Earth. You can destroy the Earth, but that's different.
I like that we all have this as our first point. Like, what constitutes the Earth being at 0 hit points?
Right, because at some point in history, like a whole planet wrecked into Earth and made a moon, and it's still here. The Earth's still here. The moon's still there.
Yeah, and like if I were reduced to 0 hit points, my body would still be there. So it's not like just being destroyed.
That's true.
Is the only way.
This is starting to make me think of like we talked about how Metroids drain life energy a couple episodes back, and I'm like, maybe hit points are like this metaphysical life energy thing.
Because I was thinking, so I first started out by saying that maybe the Earth doesn't have hit points, but it instead has some sort of durability score.
Oh yeah.
But then I thought, like, what constitute damaging the durability of it too? Because like if you're just thinking if it takes some sort of physical impact or something, like there's the joke of people can sit there and punch the earth.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think that's doing any real damage.
Right.
Because the earth is a mutable thing.
Yeah. I mean, that's how Minecraft works. Like you can punch the ground until you get to the bedrock, but then like there's still, 32 million square miles of Minecraft left to punch.
But even in Minecraft, you're like sort of destroying a piece of it. Whereas like, let's say you dig a giant hole in the earth. Like you didn't destroy anything. You just moved stuff around. So I thought maybe destroying the environment or something like that is what actually hurts the earth. But then if that's the case, then does Jupiter have any hit points? Because
I think Jupiter has more hit points than the earth.
But why? Why do you think that? Because like nothing is alive there.
So Jupiter can tank damage really, really well. Like
famous tank build.
Yeah, exactly. Back in the 1990s, a whole comet wrecked into Jupiter and it just like bruised it. If a whole comet hit Earth, it would be bad. It'd be bad news for our whole environment.
It might destroy an entire period's worth of animals.
Yeah, exactly.
I was going to say that we must be a healer build, but then I thought about what inhabits Earth, and we're definitely a damage build.
I was going to say maybe like a druid build.
Maybe a Draco, because we're the only one that has life on it.
We're the only one that has nature, yeah.
Well, that's kind of what, like, if you talk about hurting the environment of Earth to kill Earth, that's really killing the plants and animals on
right.
Earth, and they're losing hit points, but like
right.
the planet is still here.
Well, that's like I think George Carlin is the most famous example of this particular sentiment, but I'm sure other people have said it. But it's like, if we do something stupid to our planet, humans are done, but Earth will be fine. We aren't ending the world. We're just ending humans. The world will keep on going. It'll be fine.
It's the end of the world as we know it.
Yeah. I don't even think humans could do like an end Permian mass extinction. I think that would take a lot of talent.
Oh yeah, I forgot you have your tier list of mass extinctions.
Yeah. I bet we could get close actually. We got nuclear bombs.
I think that sounds like a challenge and
yeah, let's not challenge that one.
Nobody take us up on that. We didn't know what we were saying. Just chill.
All the world leaders listening. Stop.
Yeah.
I wish at least one world leader would listen to us on this podcast specifically.
So here's a weird one that I think is probably the wrong way of going about this.
Okay.
I think the Earth should have one hit point and everything else should be scaled appropriately to that.
Okay, so we're all a fraction of...
Yeah. And so the reason I was thinking in that terms is because I was still thinking a lot about Starfinder, how like the spaceships have fairly low numbered hit points and damage amounts. And then if you then enter combat with a spaceship as a squishy like being that is not a spaceship, then it does exponentially more damage than it would do to another spaceship.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking that like Earth, Earth has one hit point because that is the criteria by which all other things should be judged. And then if Earth entered combat with another human,
if Earth entered combat with another human.
Yeah, which is, a rock slide or an earthquake or something.
Oh, okay.
You can see Earth does a lot of damage to one human.
Yeah.
So.
Phrasing it as another human seems to imply that Earth is a human.
That's where I was coming from.
I mean, I've seen Captain Planet.
Fair.
Oh, Captain Planet's at least 5 humans, though, because their powers are combined.
Well, yeah, but Gaia is one.
Oh. Gaia's a Titan.
Yeah. She's Whoopi Goldberg.
Yeah. Okay, so the comparing of like Pathfinder or Starfinder ships where they scale down the hit points kind of touches on a point I wanted to make that like hit point, we haven't established any rule set.
Yeah.
Just how many hit points does it have? So if I'm thinking of like something like a fighting game, everybody's hit points is basically 100 because it's a percentage.
Right.
So if you're looking at Earth, probably if we're talking about total destruction of the planet is the point at which it's at 0 hit points. and you're comparing it to other planets, then like as we said before, it like has far fewer hit points than Jupiter, but more than like Pluto.
Yeah.
Which is not a planet.
You know what's interesting, actually, is that I was thinking about Kirby, because Kirby is not human. Kirby is an immense cosmic being of undescribable power.
Okay.
But also an amoeba, correct. But Kirby, in older games, Kirby has 6 hit points. You can get hit 6 times and then you're dead, which is a wild thing to think about because Kirby has killed gods before. But I don't know if this was going anywhere, but I just wanted to throw that in there because it might help somehow.
You just wanted to talk about Kirby.
A little bit.
Which is fair.
Also, Kirby was the subject of one of the questions the last time I was on. So, I just got you in that headspace, I think.
Yeah.
The Curbster, they call me. Another issue with the Earth's HP is even if you blow off parts of it, gravity is essentially a self-heal.
Oh yeah, good point.
So you kind of need to do it all. You need to do all of its hit points in like 1 or 2 turns, or else it's just going to come back.
If you do not one-shot the Earth, then that is... I mean, look what happened with the moon. Something tried to one-shot the Earth, and it just made a moon, and now we got a moon.
I can explain that mechanically.
We got a familiar is what we got.
Basically, the Earth is immune to physical damage under a certain amount.
Yeah.
And that amount is basically its max amount of hit points.
Yes, its hardness level and its hit point level is one different.
Yeah.
Does that mean that we have that the Earth is not immune to psychic damage?
I think it is because it's a construct.
Oh, right. It doesn't have a psyche to
This
damage.
is getting way too nerdy for me. I'm sorry.
Well, speaking of other nerdy stuff, I did want to look up something. If we have to define hit points based around some metric in the original Final Fantasy VII, Sephiroth does cast supernova on you when you fight him, which destroys Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn, and then blows up the sun. And it hits you for about 7,000 HP. So I would put the Earth somewhere right in that range, 5 to 7,000 hit points.
Okay.
5 to 7,000.
Now, that being said, I would argue that the sun should have a lot more HP than the Earth, and yet the sun is the one getting destroyed in this case.
I would agree, but technically they're not on Earth in that game. They're on Midgar, which has a life force that protects them partially.
Yeah.
In addition to gravity.
That is why it's weird that they label the other planets Jupiter, Pluto, etc.
I didn't remember that they did. Well, I don't know. In Norse mythology, Midgard was Earth, right?
Well, that's true.
It's possible that the planet Midgar is actually many thousands of times larger than the Earth, and everyone walking around on it is many thousands of times bigger than people.
Yeah. I mean, you can't prove it's not.
Yeah.
That's true. There was an episode of The Twilight Zone like that.
Was there? I don't remember that one.
Yeah, there was this lady in a farmhouse, and there was a little teeny tiny UFO that lands, and she's afraid of it and tries to hit it with a broom, and all these little spacemen are shooting at her, and at the end it pans over, she destroys the UFO, and it shows there's a US flag on the side of it. It turns out it was from Earth.
I was thinking of the end of one of the MIB movies where it turns out
too.
That aliens are playing marbles with
that's
galaxies.
Midgar.
That's Midgar, yeah.
Yeah.
Weird.
Who knew that was the earliest crossover,
The earliest
So I did a little bit of math on this one.
Okay.
This isn't really a very good crossover, I don't think. But it's something that I think could possibly give us a sort of answer. So I determined that humans are approximately, and this is important to mention approximately because humans come in all shapes and sizes, but
sure.
Humans are approximately 0.07 cubic meters. Now, because there are very few instances of a human having just a default human having hit points, I went to D&D because I know that a regular human that is not an adventurer has 6 hit points, as I recall. So what I did then was I figured out the volume of the Earth. And so the Earth's volume is 1.098 sextillion meters cubed, so cubic meters. So if you were to multiply that number out so that it's, for every 0.07 cubic meters, you have 6 hit points, then the Earth has 94.07 sextillion hit points.
Relative to a human.
Relative to a human, right.
Okay.
So if you just set it at 1, then a human has, 1, or it is, 94 sextillionth of a hit point, I guess you could say.
This is bringing forth the idea that the Earth is made of meat.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we didn't talk about material and durability.
Yeah, that's true. That raises a lot of ethical and
meat planets.
Maybe I've never dug that deep personally. Maybe down there is meat.
They're made of meat?
They're made of meat. The core is actually meat.
Yeah.
It's just a big old ground beef ball.
Ground beef?
Why beef?
That's probably going to be the episode title.
Ground beef? So there was like a famous story. It's like the first thing that came up when I typed into Google how many hit points does the Earth have, and there's like a Reddit discussion about a group of people playing D&D, and I didn't write down the numbers because it was too much D&D for me, but the story was that every time somebody missed with like an arrow, it would miss a target and hit the ground. And the story is that one of the players meticulously kept track of how much damage had been dealt to the ground or to the planet during the course of their campaign. And that ultimately gets to the, like, if you shoot an arrow at the ground, it does no damage to the planet because you just moved some dirt. But, there are a lot of ways to explore this question.
Right. Well, and I think that it is very important to remember, and we touched upon this just a few minutes ago, that unless you really hit the Earth pretty hard, pieces are not going to escape the gravity well.
I wonder if there's like some kind of like regenerate. Maybe I think Venom works like that, or the T-1000.
Oh, yeah, the T-1000 is a really good example.
It's like a thing gets blasted off of it. It just like
actually works to bring in another thing I thought about, which is to kill the T-1000, you have to melt it in molten lead or whatever that was. And to destroy the Earth, you could, either throw it into the sun, or when the sun expands at the end of the sun's life, it will just swallow the Earth. So that would be a way to reduce the Earth's hit points to 0, because it will just have melted and been destroyed.
And then the sun absorbs its power.
Yeah, so I think we can all agree that Earth is just the T-1000.
I don't see why not. We've made more ridiculous claims than that before.
It's their Earth. We're just living on it,
Yeah. The sun's a genie, the Earth's the T-1000.
I see no problem with this.
Fantastic.
The tabletop role-playing game Big Eyes, Small Mouth, which seeks to emulate anime tropes,
yes.
explicitly gives Earth 120 armor and 240 health.
That doesn't seem like a lot.
Yeah, I think that puts forward that each of us, I have to assume everyone has at least 1 health point in that game. So everyone is, not that much weaker than the Earth.
I have no context for this.
I played Besom 4th edition, which I think is the most recent one. Whatever the most recent one is. I thought it was 4th edition, but I played that one fairly recently, and I think I had like 60 hit points.
Well, you're basically getting close to being as strong as a planet there.
Apparently.
I mean, this does track with like what percentage of anime is the Earth threatened in?
Good point.
Existentially? Pretty high.
We're all in Gurren Lagann.
Like, Piccolo blew up the moon.
Yeah. Vegeta's blown up planets.
Yeah. And that was when they were, like, weak. Like...
That was before he met Goku. He blew up.
Power creep in that show gets way out of control. Like, Vegeta comes along. It's like episode 10 or something. I don't know. And he stops on the bug planet, and he's like, okay, I'm going to blow it up now. And his power level is like 7,000 or something.
To be fair, Dragon Ball was originally based on Journey to the West, and Sun Wukong is like 6 times of immortal.
Yeah, but I mean, Sun Wukong never blew up a planet. He couldn't even get out from under a mountain.
He could blow up a planet if he wanted to.
I don't know. Couldn't blow up a mountain.
Not a Buddha mountain.
Yeah, fair.
Well, speaking of anime tropes, that was a good segue.
It was a good segue.
Thank you.
Question 2 comes to us from David. Why do anime ninjas run crouched over with their arms straight back?
So I did this once.
Just once?
I think just once. The first place I can definitively remember seeing this happen is in Dot Hack Sign, the character that had the blade fists. What class is that? I forget what the class is called, but in the Dot Hack world, there's a class where you have blade gauntlets that you can use to like fight, and the guy in Dot Hack Sign would run like that. And I tried it one day, and it seemed fine. I don't know. I felt like if I tripped, I would just, eat it right into the floor. But
I assume this is a video game.
Oh, it's an anime.
It's an anime and video
I guess
game.
it is also a video game, yeah. But it started out first as Dot Hack Sign, the anime, and then they made video games and spin-offs and all kinds of...
Oh, I misunderstood. I thought you meant because you tried it and then...
Oh, no, I tried it in real life because
Yeah,
I saw
okay.
the guy, because I was like, no one runs like that. He can't possibly gain speed, and you actually can run pretty fast like that. But you trip and you're going to beef it real hard.
Yes, I did my homework like a good little student and attempted to do this in my backyard. And I was actually surprised that I think I mean, you both probably have seen me run at some point in our youth, so I'm not the greatest runner in the world. But, I was probably about 3/4 or 4/5 as fast as usual, which was faster than I thought I would be. It is scary to do, though.
So the question I have, because this isn't the first thing I wrote down, but because talking about you are a fairly tall person.
I am, yes. My balance is definitely not, and my center of gravity is not that of a medieval Japanese person.
Well, what I was reading largely about, they got professional runners or like Olympic runners to try doing this for an experiment.
Oh.
And pretty much everyone's response was, while they didn't actually fall over, they were all worried that because they're leaning forward to do this, that their center of gravity would be too far forward. And so now I'm picturing Brian do this, and being a very tall person, I wondered how much you were like in danger of just falling on your face.
Yeah, well, to be fair, as I said, poor runner, bad balance. So
Okay.
I'm always in that danger when I'm running. Just at all times, 50-50 chance.
So even normal running.
Yes. So it's hard to compare.
Fair
But yeah,
enough.
I did. And then it did, like, my yard, in order for me to have a long enough runway to try it, I really kind of had to run like up the side of my house and then turn to the back of the house. Turning was weird and awkward. I found like it's
That's
easier on a
interesting, too.
straightaway.
Oh, yeah.
But I did feel like as a tall man, aka a big target in combat, maybe from the front I'd be a smaller target because I'm leaned over so far. Maybe that's a good reason for them to run that way.
So I was thinking like aerodynamics, because you are, hunched over and then your arms behind you would mean you would be reducing drag, I would think. If you're running the normal way that most people run with your arms pumping, you're pushing against the wind a lot of the time. And also when you're hunched over forward, you are a much smaller profile. So, I mean, I don't know how much drag you're really going to get just running, but that's
Right.
the only thing I could really think of to be like a big advantage.
Well, that's interesting because, okay, so the answer, why do they run like this? I found a couple answers. And the first is that it kind of emulates the way birds run. So specifically the roadrunner and the ostrich.
Oh.
And which interesting, because the first time I really ever saw this type of thing in any sort of media was in Final Fantasy VII, when you're riding the chocobos. Because the chocobos would run kind of with their head close to the ground and their wings outstretched. And I always kind of thought they're supposed to look like ostriches. So I looked up ostriches and I learned that ostriches do tend to use their wings to kind of like help them turn when they're at speed. So kind of like spoilers. But the thing that they don't do is run with their heads straight forward. And that's closer to like the way a Roadrunner is kind of built. And just because I thought it was interesting, I learned that Roadrunners can run up to 26 miles per hour. And ostriches can run 43 miles per hour. And they're actually the fastest land bird, the fastest running bird.
They're also the biggest, I assume, right?
They're also the biggest. Well, ostriches are. There's another one that's like not an emu, but like in between, but they're not bigger than ostriches, so they're not important.
Cassowary?
That might be it.
Yeah, so basically ostriches are offended that I said that it's hard to turn like that.
It's hard to turn.
They think I'm an idiot and they're tweeting at us right now.
Because they're birds. I get it.
Well, ostriches don't have scrawny human people arms. They have big sheets of feathers.
Yeah.
Which can catch a lot more in wind resistance, right? As a side note, cheetahs typically run about 50 miles per hour, but have been recorded running up to 80, which I haven't thought about cheetahs running fast in a long time, but I thought that was insane that they can run that fast. But, okay, so the last bit of this bird thing that I wanted to mention, because so it's based on the way birds run, from what I can see. That's one theory. But why? Why would we base ninjas running on birds? Well, this, in my mind, comes from this idea that ninjas also do this thing called kujikiri. I don't know if you're familiar with this. Basically, if you've ever seen a depiction of a ninja holding his fingers in front of his face, like two fingers sticking up in front of his eyes, there's like these like hand gestures that they're often depicted as making. And these are supposedly, in legends, doing this would give a ninja supernatural abilities, like the ability to see without having their eyes open, or the ability to become invisible, or to breathe underwater. And these are all kind of like meditation techniques. And there's a lot of speculation about whether it came from China or India, but largely it's believed it came from like Buddhist teachings. But the reason that I think this is interesting in association to the way they run is that one of the biggest tactics used by ninja, especially using these types of hand gestures, wasn't necessarily actually using supernatural ability, or that they believed it could do that, but it was to psych out their enemies.
Oh, okay.
So if you translate that to anime, and keep in mind that ninja are kind of these like supernatural skilled warriors, that might be what influenced giving them animalistic qualities and having them run not in a human way.
I see.
That's kind of my simplest answer to this.
Well, that makes sense. Actually, that kind of reminded me of Naruto, how they do the hand gestures to do their powers. Yeah.
I never watched Naruto, so I should have thought of that.
I watched like 3 episodes of Naruto, and then I found out it was like 6 trillion episodes long, and I was like, I don't think I need to.
Yeah. I saw that some people also think it might have just been a energy conservation, because you're just like moving your arms less. Seems like that would be more of like a long distance, like marathon running technique, rather than like during a fight. I don't think we worry about that, but thought that was interesting. And my actual answer for why I think that they depict that is that I think in my memory, the first time I remember it was in Dragon Ball. Goku runs like that, and he's a little squat kid in Dragon Ball,
Yeah.
and you can so it's basically barely moving. And I really just think it's probably cheaper to animate because you don't have to move the arms. And then Goku made it cool, so a bunch of people copied that. Is my actual guess.
It's very possible. I mean, I think Akira Toriyama claimed that Goku ran with his arms straight out to keep himself balanced when he was running, because he was based on a monkey. And so like he pictured him. There are a lot of concept sketches of him running on like tree branches and stuff. But I think Brian is right that it was cheaper. Because, I mean, that's also why Super Saiyans have blonde hair. I don't know if you knew that. Because
I have heard that. Yeah.
The manga was black and white, so it was cheaper to not color in everyone's black hair. You didn't have to use as much ink.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Nice.
And that's why they change hair color.
One other thing that I did see that I thought was kind of interesting was the idea that it sort of evolved from an actual way that ninjas would run. So I guess that what they would do was that they would run sort of crouched over, but they would run not with their hands sort of like back or whatever. They would sort of have like one hand in front of them and one hand like on their back on their scabbard of their weapon. So that they would be ready to like then lunge and strike. So it was more of a combat position than it would be an actual like running, long distances kind of thing. But I also did see the same thing that you said, Brian, which was the conservation of movement. Because when they run with their arms in fixed positions, they're not moving their arms, wasting energy, or wiggling their body back and forth. So,
and if you think about sprinting, because one of the main things people compare this to is like long distance running and competitive, like racers. And I saw it compared to if you're doing an Olympic race, you want to run upright because humans can get up to a higher speed if they can lift their knees higher. But we're not necessarily talking about people in a foot race.
Yeah, I guess there's also like, if you don't move your arms, you know exactly where they are. And then ninja stuff, you might be ambushed or be attacked at any second. So it's like knowing exactly where your hands are at all moments. You're never off balance at all, or you're always in the same balance.
Right.
I guess theoretically could help you. Or, I mean, as I said, I just felt like I was off balance the whole time. But I'm also not a trained ninja. So I need to work on that, I guess.
I'd be curious because I never actually legitimately thought of this as having a historical basis. I always thought it was just stylized for anime, right? But I'd be interested to see if there is some historical basis, as Jim was saying, like if they would run ready to draw their weapon or something like that. If there was a different technique that we just, because if you see people doing what I'm picturing Brian doing is running as close to the way it looks in a cartoon as possible.
Yeah, it's hard to get that leaned over, honestly.
Right.
But yes.
So I wonder if how much of that is just artistic liberty with physics and stuff.
And I mean, the other thing is that we as adult folks that are trying this for the first or second time or whatever, we haven't trained the life of a cartoon ninja our whole lives.
That's true.
So it's possible it may be much more difficult for us to try to get it right. Whereas, Naruto has been running like this since he was conceived. So,
wow.
since he was conceived.
He swam that way.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Someone's gonna make fan art of that, and I don't like it.
Jim and his choice of words today. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe we shouldn't have backed that horse, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. So if the Earth is racing someone in a foot race, another human Did it run that way since?
Yes, the Naruto foot racing the Earth as equals,
As equals,
as
yeah.
equal humans.
As equal humans, which they both are.
Yeah, the Earth will respect how long Naruto's been training in that system.
Yeah, I don't think that's how the Earth was raised running.
I mean, I don't think I've ever seen Gaia in Captain Planet running, so I'm just saying.
She's much too elegant.
Yeah, I was gonna say too regal and dignified.
I like that Captain Planet is your definitive Gaia.
I mean, it's you say that, but to me,
I'm struggling to think of a better Gaia, if I'm honest.
Yeah, because Captain Planet Gaia is very regal and like dignified and like I don't know. That's how I think of the Earth, like regal and dignified.
Okay. I didn't say it was wrong. I just thought it was interesting.
Oh yeah. But the way you said it made me stop and think like, actually,
I am right.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
You're right. I am right, and I'm glad you think it's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Listeners, let us know, why does the Earth run crouched over with its arms straight back?
It's faster.
It's faster, and it looks cool.
Yeah.
And it's a planet person.
Earth's been around for a lot longer than we have, so they've probably perfected the art of running.
Earth knows what's up.
Yeah.
Conserving its energy.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Jim, do we have any listener mail this week?
We do. And as always, if you want to send us listener mail, you can email us at feedback@vaguelyscientific.com. You can comment on our blog. You can like us on Facebook. You can tweet at VaguelySci. And this email comes to us from Saber and is in regards to episode 114. And Saber says, "Hail and well met. I'm surprised that none of you mentioned Neil Gaiman's American Gods when you were talking about modern deities. I prefer the book form to the television show, though what I have seen isn't bad, but it's a showdown of old gods, Odin, Anubis, etc., against new gods, Medea, Technical Boy. The new gods are manifestations of what humans quote-unquote worship, as opposed to the old incarnations, Medea, obvious, Technical Boy, technology, the black hats, conspiracy theories, the intangibles, the stock market. Just wanted to let you know that other folks are thinking of answers to this question too. Good work as always, Saber."
I did not dive very far into the American Gods series, so I didn't think to apply it to that question, but it does. So interesting.
Yeah, I read it a very long time ago, just like the book of it. And I remember liking it, but I also don't remember anything about it at all. I should go back and revisit it because it was a good read.
I liked the Graveyard book.
Apparently, in the TV series that is coming out or has come out, I guess that the media god is dressed as David Bowie from the Life on Mars music video, like the blue, powder blue.
I think that's kind of pretty old at this point, that series.
I think it's been out for a good while, yeah. I've heard good things.
I've seen images. I saw the David Bowie images, which is why I tried to watch it. Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you very much for that email. And if you have a question that needs to be answered in a vaguely scientific manner, please email us at questions@vaguelyscientific.com. If you want to get our episodes the minute that they're released, you can subscribe to our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and all the other great places that cool podcasts like to hang out. And subscribing and leaving feedback really helps us out, and so does telling your friends.
And your friends will anime ninja run to get in line to hear the next episode. I tried.
They might. I don't know your friends. A lot of people do it on the internet. I've seen, videos of people doing it in front of Area 51, so who knows?
Oh yeah.
I was wondering if we would get through the whole episode without bringing that up.
I wouldn't have thought of it. So
the only reason I thought of it was just because like I was like, oh yeah, I've seen the videos online. Oh yeah, that was the thing that happened.
Well,
thanks, internet.
I remember storming Area 51.
Did it work? Did you get in?
I didn't actually do it.
Oh,
I just remember that it happened.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure nobody got in.
That's what they tell you.
That's fair enough. You know what?
That's what the government wants you to think, Jim.
Yeah. You know what else they want you to think?
What?
Our vaguely musical intro was composed by Anthony Pizzelli. And don't forget to check out our merch store over at vaguelyscientific.threadless.com. The government won't make you buy anything, but you might see something you like. And if you do, go ahead and buy it, because that helps to support us.
Yeah, until we renegotiate our contract with the government, and then they do force you to buy it.
Yes. That's tied up in a lot of red tape. We're probably never gonna.
It's basically completely unconstitutional.
Yeah, it's But if Tennessee gets on board, then we might have a chance.
Yeah, that's a small hurdle to get over. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
Well, thank you to Brian for coming back and being our guest this week.
Thank you for having me. It's been a delight as always.
Excellent.
Yay. For Vaguely Scientific, I am Derek.
I'm Jim.
And I'm Brian.
I think, therefore, goodbye.
Toodaloo, everyone.
Bye.
I don't know. I don't know why.
I don't know why I said goodbye. Perhaps I'll die.
I say hello.
You say goodbye, and I say goodbye. See you later.
These are all alternate takes.
Yes.